The most important question I got was, what is your legacy? Not a material legacy, but if life stops now, how do you want to be remembered? What is your frequency legacy? The Phoenix Frequency podcasts are results from that question. When all seemed burnt in your life, the fertile ash of a phoenix is filled with compassion, love, forgiveness, empowerment, intuition, wisdom, generosity, creativity, resilience, a balance of an evolution and involution, what is needed to rise. I am Nienke van Bezooijen and I live my Phoenix frequencies. On a weekly basis, I share my insights, my resources, and I have guests who Phoenix themselves. If it resonates to you, you're welcome to rise. Welcome to the Phoenix Frequencies. Over the last weeks, I had life's invitation to discover and to unpack how I can be with the feelings of disappointment based on living my Phoenix frequencies. What is a disappointing feeling anyhow? Something that doesn't turn out your way you expected? Someone who reacts or responds in a way that makes you feel disrespected, unliked, unloved, not heard, not seen, and you feel hurt or angry or sad because things didn't go your way. It's out of your control. Now, when we feel disappointed, we can blame and shame others for making you feel this way. But remember, for all of us, it's the same. In your response, you can only be responsible for what you say and how you say it. But it is out of your control how others receive it, because they're living from their perspectives. We can try to do everything not to be disappointing other people, to please others, away from our core values, to avoid at all costs disappointing them. And if that doesn't turn out, we try to control the outcome and we become disappointed with ourselves. But how about expectation management? Did you take the effort to be in communication about what you're aiming for? What did you expect from yourself and others? Like Brené Brown says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. But how a situation or circumstance make you feel can become clear when you create clarity and be real of how a situation make you feel. So you can choose to be right or you can choose to be real, keeping how it made you feel to yourself because you make yourself feel, not others. So this is just a choice. Being with disappointments was in my face being with my parents. For 20 years, I've been a caretaker in my tiny family together with my husband. We shared the same values in not letting someone down in need, by taking the effort to support our elderly in the family in the best way we could, if their circumstances changed. My parents married 60 years ago. My mom was physically disabled at that time already. My father made in his vows the promise that he would take care until they would die. But now my mom had a fall, and my father can't keep his promise as they had in mind. My parents can't live like they did until 3 weeks ago, living without any help. My father taking care of my mom, the house, householding, shopping, cooking, everything. Can you imagine after 60 years there is disappointment, grief, feelings of guilt, and the whole bunch? This week we had to tell my mom that she isn't coming home while she is in a temporary elderly nursing home. She needs to go to a high care nursing home from here. She's not coming home. I had these conversations with my parents-in-law, with my grandparents, even with my husband. But still, old grief came up from all these conversations before. But I had a choice. The only way I could be with that is greet that pain, acknowledge it, Acknowledge how I feel and don't blame the circumstances for it. Avoid the highway junction to Pity City. No way. The only way I could be with the whole situation at ease and with peace is to be very present with the dynamics I bring. Pity would not work in this situation. Empathy, compassion would serve better. The other insight I had was when I felt like, oh my goodness, this is a repetition of the situations I dealt with in the past, and I felt a drain, turn it around. Don't go to that wormhole. The only way I felt my energy drain would stop was acting from the lessons I got from the past. That made I could share it like this with my parents, take the lessons learned and make the best out of these lessons. In our family, we saw firsthand how separation without open communication, daring to be real, lacking collaboration is causing harm and unsolved grief and pain. I could say to my parents, please, let us take the experience and keep the love and respect for each other as our guide. The outcome is probably the same, but the process is more healing than devastating. And they could hear it. I don't know how life will turn out from here. I do know I gave my all with respect to them and to myself and to my learning. It's how I did it, and I can't expect the same from the rest of the family. I'm not responsible for their process. That's out of my control, nor I want to be in control of that. They're adults, they have their own path, their own learning curves. That's not up to me. I can facilitate, I can share what I feel for real, and then let go. Out of control. Even if I could feel that there is disappointment in their response, I let it go. It's my feeling of disappointment, and it's up to me if I feel this way. It's not in their control. Take my own responsibility. But all of this is a human perspective. Disappointment is a human thing in how we wired ourselves. The most valuable lesson to overcome disappointment is to look into nature. The plant that sprouts out of the concrete we put on top. The sea of flowers in the desert after rain. When I felt an edge of disappointment that was ruling me, I went to the forest nearby to take that lesson. Especially from the little valley I named the Valley of the Fallen Heroes. Majestic, tall trees fallen by a storm years ago. They provide new life to plants, insects, animals. The fox then, the fox is made under the roots of the fallen hero. The woodpeckers using the old wood providing other spaces for smaller birds. Nature doesn't complain from a feeling of disappointment because the rain is too late, too early, the sun is too bright, too cloudy. Nature doesn't complain. We humans measure and check if nature is too early, too late with flowering or growth. Nature adapts and does less or more based on circumstances. We like to control. Nature can be transported or manipulated by humans, like we try to make nature more resistant to diseases. It's our disease, not their dis-ease. They will fix themselves. We humans think we can control nature, manipulate rain or sun. And if we don't succeed, we're agitated or disappointed. We are here for such a small amount of time compared to nature. We use so much of our planet to feel good, thinking we deserve it all. And if we don't get it, we get disappointed. We don't deserve it all. We don't. We can dwell in our disappointment or to take responsibility. Take responsibility for our thoughts, our actions, and the way of interacting with each other. Because we can. A seed doesn't complain being a seed. It does what it has in the DNA. develop new transformed life. It becomes a tree, a flower, or whatever it's in the DNA. What's in your DNA? What do you pass on to the next life cycle? We are different from the seed as we develop consciousness, making choices deliberately, but we can rise above the feeling of disappointment. So, what are you up to? Can you choose to leave the past, to trust to be with the present, to contribute to a future that can look beyond disappointments? You can bring up your frequency by choice, not by circumstance. You can try a frequency of love, compassion, or gratitude, for instance, and see if your disappointment survives.